I thought that the RNC convention was much more effective than the Democratic convention. Uh, the Democratic convention, as all outsider conventions would be, has to say that the present president is not performing well. But I think that what was missing in the first convention was any description of what they would actually do going forward. And they didn't mention China. They hardly said anything about it. And they didn't mention any of the violence in the cities. The Republicans, of course, talk a lot about China. In fact, the viewers of CNBC Asia should know that it was a major focus of the speech, and it was very hard on China, and it laid out a second-term agenda. But the main point that differed the two conventions, aside from the Republicans having people there in person and so forth, is that the Democrats want it to be an election about Trump, and Trump wants it to be a choice between himself and the Republican Party and Biden and the Democratic agenda. So I think that they have very different visions of what they want to do.
So you say the Democrats didn't really set out an agenda. How will that sit then with the general public, which is deciding which side of politics it will fall behind?
Well, the reason they didn't set out an agenda is that they have two base audiences. They have a kind of left-wing Bernie Sanders, AOC, Elizabeth Warren wing of the party, and then they have a lot of center-left donors and independent voters. And if they try to appeal to one, they alienate the other group. And what they try to get away with was essentially not talking to issues that would be a wedge. And of course, that opens the door for Trump to, in effect, say, well, here's what they're going to do. This is exactly, he'll paint them. If they won't paint themselves, he'll try to paint them.
So how important then will the presidential debates be?
Absolutely crucial. Not only because it will allow people to see one candidate versus the other, but because there have been increasing questions about whether Biden is cognitively impaired to some degree or another. And the fact is, he not only hasn't come out of the basement, he hasn't been interviewed by tough interviewers. He's just been interviewed by sort of softball interviewers and not pressed on all the issues that people really want to know about. So the debates will be crucial.
What are the president's chances of gaining re-election, do you think, at this point in time, where we're currently sitting in the cycle in the lead up to November?
The betting markets, which had him up about 5 or so points a few months ago, had him down by about 20 a couple of weeks ago. And now he's narrowed that in the betting markets to about 10 points and closing. I actually think he has a good shot. If I were to make an even up bet, I would bet that Trump will be reelected, primarily because I think he will carry a number of the states in the upper Midwest.
Well, which states will you be closely watching?
States.
Right, it is all about those key battleground states. Which ones are going to be the most important that you'll be watching?
Well, I think he will certainly carry Ohio, but I think Pennsylvania's a toss-up. I would say that Wisconsin, Minnesota are toss-ups. I think he'll carry Florida, but it will be close. They pitched a lot of the convention to factory workers and working class people, the Republicans did, in the upper Midwest. And they did one other thing that was really striking. They did a lot of speaking directly to African American voters. And I think they did that not only because they think they can get some more votes there, but because they know that many white voters and Hispanic voters and others won't vote for a candidate they think is a bigot.